What would happen if you did nothing with your team? You just kept trudging along, month after month, the same problems. We did that. With the team we had, if we were staying on the same trajectory that we were going, we never would have made it. Our team's performance was not going to sustain the growth that we were looking for, right? You might be feeling the same way. It's probably why you reached out to us and came to the webinar in the first place. So we didn't know what to do with the team that we had. We had to do something. We had to find a solution because we were losing money and it was a big problem. So check this out. Our best property manager, right? This guy named Scott. He would call us all the time and we'd do work for him and it was very profitable. He was a very lucrative account, right? One day he calls me up. Scott was mad. He said, one of your guys told my tenant on the job you're working on that I was a slumlord. Scott was so mad. One of our guys, Dale, told the tenant that Scott, the property manager, was a slumlord because he didn't fix a problem. He had a water damage job. And Scott was so mad because the tenant called him up and complained, and we were going to lose the whole account. We were so embarrassed. This was going to be profitably a problem, and we were embarrassed and ashamed, and we were just not doing very well at all. Because Scott knew a lot of people in his company, because he had a lot of property managers there, and he was connected in town, and he was in a couple of our networking groups. We were embarrassed, we were sad, and we were scared because this was going to affect our bottom line. And I just want to crawl into a hole. Have you ever been there? You want to crawl into a hole because you don't know what to do. You're embarrassed, you're upset, you're scared. But all these holes you're going to have to come out of eventually. And I went to Eric. I said, man, we got to figure this out. We're going to do something about our team before our reputation ruins our whole company, right? We tried giving raises to everybody. We tried giving them bonuses, new vehicles, new uniforms, new tools. None of it was working, right? So Eric came up with some great ideas, okay? And he talks about this in the webinar. He started teaching them what to say and what not to say, especially when working for property managers. And he taught them other skills as well. When you get up in the morning, you get up a half hour early, prepare yourself for work every day. This way your jobs are going to go smooth. And we wanted that as owners. We wanted our team to be engaged, to perform on the jobs, to make us good money and keep the clients happy. But they didn't understand that. And Eric started teaching them why and how to do all these things. And they started responding. And I was like, okay, cool. He was just doing it for a couple of minutes every morning. No problem. I wasn't into it because I didn't think much of it. But he was doing it for a couple of weeks. We'll see what happens. So then I go into this B&I meeting, right? And one of the insurance agents that uses us stood up and he was giving us a compliment. He said, listen, Eric and Larry do such a good job. And he mentioned Dale's name. Dale came out to a job. I'll never call anybody else ever again. And I was like, Dale, we're ready to fire the guy because he just blew it. And I said, oh, thank you very much. I was very kind. In my mind, it was just spinning. I'm like, what's going on? So I ran out of there. I called Eric. I'm like, Eric, guess what happened at the B&I meeting? He goes, you wouldn't believe what happened here. That other guy we're going to fire the other day, he just got a 5-star review. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? This is great. And then a couple days later, this was like on a Thursday, and on a Monday, we got like 4 repeat client calls that we didn't expect at all. These guys, people didn't like us necessarily, and they're calling us for more business. And then the day later, we got a bunch of referrals from the jobs we've been doing the last few weeks. And we're like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? This is great. And then we had a bunch of upsells that we didn't usually get, some add-on sales. And then I'm like, Eric, these lessons, you got to keep doing them, whatever happens. And I wasn't into it, right? I said, don't stop these lessons at all. And he's like, okay, no problem. Let's keep doing the lessons. And we started changing our C players into A players. I said, keep this going. It was awesome. I was so happy. And that was the missing piece. And this is what we're offering you too. This is the missing piece that you have. When you train your team skills that are going to help them every day, it's going to help you every day. It's going to benefit your bottom line. It's going to benefit your head. You're not going to have as many headaches from problems. And your C players are going to become A players just from educating them on how to behave on the jobs and how to talk to people and communicate. It was amazing. So the story goes on, but it's not quite as exciting as you would think, okay? You wouldn't believe what happened. We were doing all these lessons. Culture was going great. Everything's going wonderful. We're all excited. We think we found the golden nugget. We got everything. We got the golden ticket. And then we started getting busy, hit our busy season, which was what we want, right? But we missed a couple meetings. Everybody was like, okay, no problem. And then we got this big, gigantic job. And meetings went out the window. I said, Eric, there's just no time. We're never going to get to meetings. He resisted me, but I said, listen, we got to get to these jobs. So we had no more meetings. And guess what happened? Callbacks, people were coming in late, jobs weren't as profitable, and guys started quitting. And we're like, we can't have this. Whoa, 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 what's going on? Turnover is the worst. Just slows you down, and it's expensive. So I said, Eric, start these meetings again. You got to get these meetings going because I think this is what happened. He's like, absolutely. And he was kind of poking at me because he knew. Give him credit. He knew. And then all of a sudden, things started getting back to normal. Team started preparing, doing a good job. Problems became less. Callbacks dropped. We started getting more profitable again. It was really cool. And that's when we knew if we don't invest in our team on a daily basis, everything goes sideways. And that's what we're sharing with you folks as well. One of our clients tells a story about his experience with SuperTech University. He thought he interviewed and hired so well that he was having a great team from that. As we know, interviewing and hiring is really important, and it does help creating a great team. But that was not the case. He expected they would all know how to act and represent his company well. He thought they would have the skills to represent his company and make good profits for them. But that wasn't the case. And we all have a story about a great hire, right? The guy's going to be the next best thing in the company. We're going to send him out to jobs. He's going to do the best fix. He's going to please the clients. But that's not always the case. They always seem to know how to do the fix real well because they're into that. This guy couldn't get his team to communicate real well. And that was the problem. They were making clients mad. They were causing his profits to drop. He was causing callbacks, which you don't make any money with and get callbacks. And they weren't showing up. They were ghosting him. He was so frustrated. So we started implementing SuperTech University, and things started turning around. All of a sudden, his hires were really good. He said, "Man, I'm a great hire now," because he was following up with educating and investing in his team, that his bottom line got much better, and he had repeat clients, and everybody was happy. He said the main problem was that he didn't educate him on being late, impressing the client with the theater of business. Those are the two lessons that he showed all the time. And then also, asking for the upsell hurts the clients. And that's what he showed them. And then all of a sudden, when he showed them all these things, profits were coming like crazy. Now, he had a great epiphany, but this other guy has a better epiphany. Check it out. I had a client, and he was really good at getting leads. And you could imagine, he was so good, and it's something that everybody would want. I was impressed with him. And it went like this. He got the leads coming in, and each lead cost him about $550. He was doing Facebook, Google, local ads, right? $580. His average ticket was like $1,600, right? So 35% of the cost of the ticket was for marketing. So you'd expect he would capitalize on those clients by having them be repeat clients, and that's where he'd make the most of his money. But his team was so bad, can I say they sucked, because he wasn't getting any repeat clients at all. And he didn't know what to do. We met him at a trade show, and it showed him how much more his bottom line could be if he gave great service and he had more repeat business. Okay, so he introduced me to his operations manager, and they started implementing SuperTech University, right? To capitalize on the opportunity to have repeat clients and easier jobs. Because repeat clients are easier clients because they're inviting you back into their home. They know you, they like you, and they trust you. And everything should go easier that way. And once you're in there, it makes a difference. So that's what he started doing. So 20% of his clients, he'd have about 100 jobs a month. So 20% of those clients, he went back into the home, did similar work. He had add-on sales because they trusted him already, and his profits went up 30%. And I made a spreadsheet for this. I'll share it with everybody if you want to. Just by a small lesson every single day, investing in the education of his team. He was doing so well, and he had less headaches because he had less problems. He was able to continue his great marketing, and it was a win-win. And you can have the same thing, okay? $249 a month is what Eric was talking about, right? 10 minutes a day. With this guy translating to 30% of his bottom line, your bottom line is definitely going to go up. And we want you to take advantage of this new opportunity. You're going to get the SuperTech University lessons for your technicians. You're going to have SuperTech Universities for your CSR people that answer the phone. And you're going to have business development rep to develop more businesses. And your sales team is going to get lessons. And they're going to benefit and make your bottom line so much better. And you get a golden ticket to come and see us at a business planning event in either Southern California or Utah, right out of Salt Lake City. Your whole world's going to change. And it's going to be amazing for $249 a month. That's winning. Okay? So act on this. The whole idea is you don't want to keep doing things the same way you've been doing them. If you want to have a conversation, give me a call. We don't have a lot of spots available because it takes a lot of onboarding, a lot of attention to get to these people. Sign up for SuperTech University. We'll talk to you later.